Hello, this is Scott. So again, we are working through his basic Statistica tutorial series. The last two sessions, we talked about getting data into Statistica. The first session was more about different file types, bringing those in. Session two was about accessing databases, doing queries into tables and joins. Through a database itself. Now I'm going to talk about data manipulation within a workspace, specifically joins and append with merge. So in Statistica, I'm going to be showing you this within a workspace, but you can, if you have two files open, two spreadsheets, you can essentially do all the functionality that I'm showing here through the menus itself, so you don't have to do it this way. Also, just to let you know, I'm demonstrating the ability to annotate. So we're going to talk about 4 different things here, and I've created an annotation for what we're doing. Also, to let you know, within the node itself, when you bring down a node into Statistica, so if I click on here and I bring down, let's say, a merge node. If I double click on this text is, I can edit it. I can also press F2 and I can name that node whatever I want to be more descriptive of whatever process I'm trying to complete. Also within that node, let me show you something as well. Not with this one since I don't have it really hooked up. But in the node itself, if you go to home, here, there's a place in the bottom for an annotation. So you can write notes to yourself or people that you're collaborating with within your organization. You can create your own annotation here. I said I created this for S03, which is our session today. So there you go on ways to remember what you were doing and illustrate to others what you've been doing. Okay, so I have 2 simple spreadsheets here. I have the first spreadsheet is 3 columns, category, price, and state. And then I have a second spreadsheet here with the same 2 column names for the first 2 variables, but then a difference. Here I have state, here I have seller for my variable names in column 3, also a different number of rows. So the first functionality I'm going to go through is merge cases. So if I click on here, I get to select whatever variables that I want within Statistica. So I'm just going to select all for both file 1 and file 2. And then for the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say match by variable name and drop in matching variables. So if I run that, what I get essentially is, you remember I had 3 columns in each, in each one of the ones before. I've now dropped those columns with this setting. If I go in and I select not to match by variable name and I rerun that, then I get the appended cases, and then I also get this seller, which was the column name for the first one. But since it wasn't sure exactly what the state name was, it threw those under the seller. So no loss of information. But I do need to figure out what I'm going to do, with this. So it gives you an idea of some of the things that you can manipulate. Basically, any type of join as we go through this series, you'll see that you can accomplish pretty much any kind of join, any kind of append. Even we'll look at cross joins as well in the next session. All right, so I'm going to move on to merge variables. So on this particular one, I think I've got a little bit different data, so let me give you a quick look at that. So on this one, I've got category, price, and state for this first file. Let me shut these down. And then the second file, I've got a little bit different. Append that I have. I'll look at the two tables that I'm working with right here. I've got 5 rows here, category, price, and state. Pretty much the same information in the first 5 rows of the second table, but I've got this description as well. And so when I try to merge the variables, I can actually select my matching variable that I want to match on, just like an inner join. So I'm matching category here. And then there are a variety of different ways that you can work with the data. For example, I'm doing like an inner join again here, and I am matching on auto, so I'm letting Statistica figure it out, but I can force numeric or text on that join. I can drop multiples from the first file to the second file. So a lot of different options that you can work with here. But I'm going to bring across all the variables from both subsets. So if I just run this node, I get this output here. I get 10 rows, and I've thrown state into a column and then the description and price into different columns here. So I'm looking at that. I may want to, if there's not a full match, to be able to bring down or copy down the information within Statistica. So how do we do that? Again, the same node, but instead of having fill with missing data, I can do the copy down here, and then when I run that, I copy those values down through the rest of the data. So that comes in handy sometimes. Again, lots of different options. We're certainly not going to cover every one during this demo. So this last one is it's the same data that I had previously. Let me just organize that. So and again, the first 5 rows are the same. So if I merge the text labels here with this node, essentially I can configure this. I'm selecting the variables that I want from file 1, and so I can select which variables that I want to join on. I'm going to join on the category here, what kind of output that I want. Again, all variables as output. And then here's these different modes. Just for this illustration, I'll say merge text labels from both spreadsheets, and spreadsheet 1 has priority. So if I click that and I run that, I essentially had done an inner join. But if I had additional columns or different parameter set, you can imagine I can accomplish pretty much anything, excuse me, any type of merge from these 4, these 3 nodes. Plus, we're going to talk about again cross joins and a couple of others in the next sessions. So very rich options here within Statistica. So next time we will be talking about using the match, the concatenate, and the cross join functionality in Statistica. More ways to manipulate data. If you have any comments or suggestions, please send me a line. Here's my email address. 2 different email addresses you can send me a line. So I appreciate your time, and I look forward to seeing you next time.